It is back. Stellaris Galaxy Command has resurfaced here in 2020 after 3 whole months of riding underneath the radar following its rather tumultuous launch back in October of 2019. But here it is. It's back on the market. It is currently available only in 4 regions: Sweden, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, as it has had a soft launch following its rather interesting launch. As I mentioned already, back then when the launch initially was, there were some serious problems with the game, not so much in terms of gameplay, but we'll get to that shortly, but in terms of the art assets within the game. There were quite a lot, he says. There were a couple of instances of what looked like to be plagiarized graphical elements within the actual game that came from several sources, and the game was promptly taken down with several rather apologetic Twitter messages and PR messages. But now it is back, and we're going to go and take a look at this particular instance of the game. I want to give you a quick heads up though. Paradox has given me a elite version of their battle pass, as they call it, so I have got a couple of things on that as well. But we're gonna go and take a look at the actual game and see what is actually here. Now, we're on the very first screen of the game. This is our personal screen. This is our commander screen. This is what our character looks like. So we got our avatar, we got what our level space station is. Yes, there is a space station. Are no real planetary interactions within this game. Those have been replaced with your space station. You got your cabinet, which it's basically a series of characters that you can apply and give bonuses to your empire, with some interesting character models. That's definitely a thing. We're currently moving toward authoritarianism every single day, and we're going to have a bunch of bonuses based on construction and military. So for instance, these characters give us bonuses on that front. We got our ethics as well, which is very much taken straight from Stellaris, with militarism, authoritarianism, materialism, egalitarianism, etc. So all that stuff is in place. But the real question is, how does the game itself play? It is currently a slightly shallow experience, sadly. We are here on our station. This is mainly one of the screens you're going to be looking at most of the time within the game, and there's a couple of elements here that we're going to be walking through to illustrate what's going on within the game itself. We'll go through the UI one by one. We'll go through our functions, our structure, our chat, etc., and basically take a look at what's going on. And yes, we will get to the microtransactions part of the game. Now, what is the game itself? It is a mobile MMO. That's effectively what it is. It's very similar to Scopely's Star Trek game, or even a Game Bear's own Nova game that they released, Nova Empire, that they released a couple of years back. And it's definitely based on the technology behind Nova Empire. There's a lot of design elements that are strikingly similar with that title. And if you had a history playing that game, or even the Star Trek MMO on mobile, you will see very, very, very strong instances of mechanics that are very, very similar. But we'll get to that. First of all, let's dive right in. This is a free-play game. You can download it, etc. once it becomes available in your market, or if you live in Sweden, Canada, Australia, or New Zealand, you can download it right now on your app store of choice. So let's take a look here through our interface. We got our standard stuff. We got our population that are all living on this station right now. Actually, they're all living over here. If we can just zoom in here, there they all are. They're all living in these houses. That's pretty cool. We got our income, which is currently at minus 11.2. It's a good reason for this, because actually we're making 1.8 a day, but I've been spending a lot of money, or at least energy credits, which regenerate from your population. The higher population you have, the more money you will get, and that will regenerate on a day-by-day basis. But I've just been spending quite a lot to make money, because if you have money, you gotta spend money to make money, if you ever worked in any sort of financial institute. We got our resources. Wow, that is a lot of resources, and those are all being generated here on this here station. You got the classics like volatile motes, consumer goods. You got your minerals, your food. You got your gas, you got your metals, etc. There's a lot of assets here that are lifted straight from Stellaris, the PC game, in terms of its visual style. All of these are, except for the ores, I believe, are pretty much all part of the PC game. And that makes a nice consistency within the franchise, which is, on one hand, something that I'm rather glad about, but it does feel a little bit like wallpapering on something else, mainly like trying to force the Stellaris franchise into something else. But we'll get to that. Also, Pytherian Dust is back. That's cool. Then, of course, we got the left side. We currently have a bunch of missions. It wouldn't be an MMO if we didn't have a couple of objectives, a bunch of missions selected, things that we have to do. So right now, for instance, we have to upgrade our design center. So if we go to the actual base over here, let's take a quick look. There is our ship design center. I can upgrade that, and that will take 2 hours and 11 minutes. It's not like that we can grab the resources or grind the resources and then upgrade the building. Sadly, we do have the minerals for it if we want to. But we can also get it instantly by spending these coins that we can buy. But that, you should never do that. It is a bit of a ripoff. So for instance, we go to the upgrade, and now this ship design center will upgrade slowly to level 10 in this particular instance, and it will take 2 hours and 11 minutes. The entire game is designed around the waiting experience, which is very similar to if you've played games like EVE Online, for instance, where you wait for your skills to finish in order to get better at things. You kind of can make that analogy here. But of course, it wouldn't be a mobile title if we didn't have the opportunity to speed up the actual building. Now, I did not buy any of this stuff. You get all this stuff through gameplay. But then again, I've only been playing this for about 4 days now, and I don't know whether or not you will lose a lot of this stuff over time. So I can, for instance, just buy a bunch of speed boosts here, and then the building will get done. We'll get it down to 5 minutes, and in about 36 seconds we will get back to this, because there's a point I would like to make. You can do that with every single building. You got your radar station, university, your resource buildings are all over here. They generate resources which are then reflected within the resource bar. They're all being done on this particular station. Metal, for instance, we got our metal factories. They're currently underperforming, therefore we are running at a deficit. But of course, we can buy those metals on the open market with trading with other players. Yes, there are other players in this game. There's actually quite a lot of them at the moment, and it's a rather curious instance, really. You got your warehouses for storage, power, etc. Every single resource has a building attached to it to generate said resources. You've got your shipyards, you can build all that stuff in parallel, and I think it's time to take a look here at our ship design center, because this is the very first thing that really annoys me about this game, and that is this button right here. As soon as a building hits that 5-minute marker, you can upgrade it for free. It's done. That basically means that every single timer you see, you can detract 5 minutes from it, and now we get a bonus. By completing this mission, we get a bunch of resources and a couple of time boosts right there, and that is effectively it. Now we have to build 3 destroyers. Yeah, it is a rather curious scenario here, because I'm kind of looking for a building that I can very quickly upgrade. Let's have a quick look here at my structural stuff. Like, these are all of our buildings that we can build, civilian industries. All of these are just physical objects that you can place on your station in order to make stuff grow. And I think the cheapest building that we have right now is the prison. Yeah, it takes 49 minutes to upgrade. But however, if you place a building at level, you will place it at level 1. But the time required to upgrade to level 2 is less than 5 minutes, which means that you can instantly upgrade it to the next level, and the next level, and the next level, and the next level. There is no queuing for this. It gives you that instant gratification that you're really used to when you're seeing these sort of mobile titles, because you have the feeling that you're actually progressing rather rapidly, even though that is in the long term not really the case. So for instance, if I would upgrade the shipyard, I would get a bonus to ship building speed, but I don't have the resources for it right now because I don't have the minerals, so I'm going to need to wait, or I can go in and say, hey, I got inefficient minerals, not enough minerals. Use some of these G credits to buy them. And this brings us to our next step here, and that is the G credits system. So we can buy all these G credits, right? You get a bunch for free through slow stretch goals, etc. And again, this is all in euros, so it's about the same in the US analog right here. But for instance, the most expensive package is 120 euros, which is about, I want to say, $130 or something along those lines. And the game, because the way the timers work, it really incentivizes you to wait it out. And so a lot of people don't have that patience because they want to move to the next level, which is where those G coins come in. Now, you generate quite a lot of G coins yourselves as well within the game by doing missions like these here daily missions, where you can grind for resources and then you get rewards. Like you do certain actions every day. These are your analogs for dailies within, say, World of Warcraft, where if you do certain things, you get bonuses that they then drop in crates. These are not loot boxes, by the way. They are specifically defined on what you're going to get. So all these three, you are going to get that within this box, and if you get enough points throughout the week, you can get separate boxes, etc. So you're really grinding towards these boxes in order to get more resources. So yeah, that's something that you want to keep in mind. So yeah, the station itself, it's a rather interesting gameplay element that I feel is very, very underdeveloped. I'll tell you why. Notice that everything is laid out in a certain way and a certain structure, and there's only one reason for it. It is to make it look good and effective in terms of finding what you need to find. There is really no gameplay element attached to this. There is no adjacency bonuses, for instance. So for instance, if we go to our editing station, we end up on this grid. And I feel personally that this is a huge missed design opportunity for the game, because if we store all of our buildings, and let's say that I want to build a... we're just going to go ahead and build a residence here, right? Okay, so there's our residence. We're going to go and drag it up here. We'll build another one, etc. We'll drag it up here. There are no adjacency bonuses. So if I, for instance, put a farm next to these two buildings, we don't get any adjacency bonuses from that. That's something that you would expect in certain other games, like Supreme Commander, for instance, is very strong with those adjacency bonuses. Those workers that are working close towards these buildings do not give any bonuses. Therefore, this entire station, in terms of its layout, adds no real gameplay element aside from it to look nice in a place to store your buildings. They may as well exist within a spreadsheet, which is something that I find, again, a missed design opportunity, because when it comes to gameplay itself, it is rather shallow, and I will dive into that right now. So we got our base. We've touched on this game, this part of the game. What else is there to do? Well, we can go to the galaxy. Within the galaxy, there are multiple systems, and those are straight from the Stellaris name list of systems within that game. So here's the galaxy. This is where we are. We are in our part of space for the Xenonian News. That's the alliance that I'm with. Yes, there are alliances within this game, and all of these areas have little systems in them, and every single system has stuff attached to them. So let's say we go to our capital here in this particular system. So we end up on our system screen here, and we load in. This is the kind of visuals that you are used to within Stellaris. It is a relatively flat plane with planets on it, but there's all these stations in here, and these are all different players. Now you also see these here triangles with little dots below them. These are pirate fleets. This is some of the main content within the game at the moment. It's still early days, but for instance, I can go ahead and select all my fleets. These are my fleets, and I can go and say, hey, attack these here enemies. They'll arrive here in 25 seconds. However, if I want to speed up this particular cycle, I can go and say, hey, I want to spend these here fleet boosts to get to my objective quicker. And this is something that I feel would be useful in, say, alliance wars and stuff like that. So here come our ships. They attack the pirates. There we go. Pirates are going to die. All my fleets are now here. And the pirates are, in fact, dead. There we go. Pirates have died, our ships are all back here, and the pirates have now dropped a bunch of resources over here, and we can go ahead and collect those with one of my little worker ships that is right here. We can actually track this guy. There he is, our little ship. And he's going to go over there and now collect those resources. Now, all these pirates have different tiers. Some of them drop different types of loot. It's very similar to what you would expect within your standard MMO. So, yeah, that's something that you want to maybe take a look at. And then, of course, we got ourselves some more loot, I believe. Can we select this one? Yeah, let's collect this one. There you go. And then we send basically our fleets back to the capital. That's a mercenary fleet. It doesn't do all that much. As you can see, there is a number beneath every single fleet, and that is its supply. Now, every single fleet only has so much supply until they need to return to base to resupply. That's something that's very similar within the base game of Stellaris. However, you can only generate so much supply per day. And that creates all sorts of very interesting scenarios where you are maybe in a war and you run out of supply. The real problem is you cannot trade supply directly to other players. And this brings me to my next problem within the game. There is no specialization. You cannot say, for instance, hey, I passed a level 10 station. The game will still give me at a new tech level a certain type of building, and they will only give you a certain number of buildings. It's usually just one of each type that you can build, or at certain tiers you will get, say, for instance, an extra shipyard or an additional mining station. For instance, there is no free-form building here once you're past the tutorial, which once again I feel is a really big missed opportunity, because it really pigeonholes every single player into exactly the same base with the exact same tech level and exactly the same resources. You cannot specialize. You can't say for instance, hey, I'm in an alliance. I want to be the person in the alliance that generates all the supply for all of our fleets. Or we have a supply division, for instance. I want to be the guy that generates all the materials, the raw materials for our attack fleets to move forward. That's not in the game. Everybody has the same amount of resource generation, the same amount of buildings available, and the same amount of population available. There's a little bit of difference here and there when it comes to, say, technology. So for instance, we can go through our research and say, hey, I want to research some resources, right? This is all currently at level 5, and let's say, hey, metal station maintenance cost is now reduced by 10%, or it increases production by 10%, and that goes by level. And this applies to every single resource within the game, like power generation, metal generation, regional products. Yes, the galaxy is split into regions, each with their own products that are unique to their region, so that may actually spawn a little bit of aminosity between alliances. Things like population, like tax revenue. I get more taxes and therefore more energy every single day, and it will generate resources for me slowly but steadily, and that's definitely a thing. Or being able to unlock more worker ships so you can mine faster, or make your space station better, that sort of thing. That stuff is all there. But you really, again, pigeonholed into the same approach where you have the same amount of resources available as basically everybody else, and I can really feel that undermines the challenge of an MMO where you have specialized players. But there's more to the game than that. There's, of course, anomalies. Yes, anomalies have made it into the game, similar to just standard Stellaris, where you can go out and survey stuff within the galaxy. So let's go into the galaxy, shall we? And let's send out our science ship. What do you mean, ASpec? Our science ship? Yes, we only have one, which is a bit of a shame. So, for instance, let's say I want to go and see this system. I want to explore this system, and now our scientist will go out there and figure out what is going on over here. So we go to our fleets, and our science ship will now move out there. They'll arrive there in 16 minutes, unless I speed things up, again with the speed boosts, and then they will arrive in that system, scan it, see if there's anything interesting in this whole sector, and then we may get some anomalies. Thankfully, I prepared for this particular video, and I have a bunch of anomalies available. So we got our situation log over here. So this is our situation log, very similar to what you would expect within Stellaris. I really love the fact that it got this big art in the background, unlike Stellaris, where you would get a significantly less engaging screen. But the real problem here is that this is also the anomaly screen, and the anomalies by themselves are incredibly barren. When you have in Stellaris an anomaly tree that can expand into multiple events with multiple decision making, here there's usually only one step, and these only will affect our choice. Those of choices are made by our ethics. Now, we're materialists, but we can also float towards spiritualists in this particular case, and it doesn't matter what we choose, we will get these 3 resources. So here you go, we now got these 3 resources. Just like that. That is an anomaly chain. There are no long-term anomalies within the game. If we, for instance, go to our event screen, right now there's only the 7-day recruit check-in available at the moment, where you have to check in for 7 days, and then you just do it all over again. Now, of course, it is early game of the game. It's very early for the game right now. It is a soft launch of the title in very specific regions. I can totally understand that there is no storyline currently going on within the confines of the game. And that totally makes sense. It does make for a very shallow gameplay experience at the moment. Also, I've got some events for my space station saying, hey, some stuff is going on. There's an interstellar comet coming in. Okay, well, I'll get the sensors ready. Alert the crew. Here's another one. The knights of this place have expressed their gratitude for time to sing and pray. Okay, well, we're pacifists or a militarist. Music is the language of the soul. That is your event. It's very shallow. That right there, I do feel, is a bit of a problem and needs to be done. The real issue is, I have seen these events 20 to 30 times already. There is not a lot of variation when it comes to these events within the game. And that, for me, is a huge problem. To me, Stellaris is this... I've said this before, and I will say it again. It is this massive canvas that stands on an easel, and your decisions are the paint that draw the universe. Now, of course, this is an MMO. There is just going to be limited interaction within the world because there is no quote-unquote evolution going on here. The world does not change based on your actions. There's only territorial change because your alliance has managed to grab a bunch of territory, and that is basically it. It's a real shame that it's structured like this, because the amount of content available when it comes to the anomalies is very, very, very limited, and that's the kind of thing that would really attract, I believe, the core Stellaris player base. And we got a new situation log here as well. We can get whatever this is. A transistor semiconductor. We can assemble level 2 subcomponents. Okay, we can talk about subcomponents now. So every single thing, this is actually something I like, by the way, I would like to point out, and I would like to see in Stellaris. Let's go to our fleet here, the capital fleet. So this is our fleet right now. It's the layout. We got 96 corvettes. We got 80 frigates, we got 4 destroyers, no cruisers, no battleships, and no dreadnoughts. Notice that frigates exists and dreadnoughts exists within this game. Something you wouldn't get on the PC version of Stellaris, at least not Galaxy Command, obviously. So at this point, we got our fleet weight, we got our fleet combat values, the HP, and the special defense value, which I have no idea what they actually do, and we got our various other fleets as well. So we can say, hey, this fleet, not docked, go. The translation is done from Chinese, I would like to point out, so there are some issues there. But for instance, right now we got 16 corvettes and 17 frigates in storage as of right now. Perfectly fine. No issues there. So let's go and take a look at the thing that I really like. So we got this functions menu that shows our rank, our item lists, our leaders, our alliance, our whatever is in a dock, our ship designs. We can take a look at our ship designs. Let's say that we want to build ourselves a destroyer, and there it is. It is a destroyer class, and we can edit this destroyer class to add more guns or more... Oh god, we got robotics on this? That's terrible. Okay, well, let's just... add all this stuff, I guess. So let's just put this here and add some kinetics and lasers. There we go. So we'll just drag and drop all that stuff on there. We got our parts, it's armor, shields, scramblers, which is for evasion. We'll just save this design And let's give it a name here. What was it again? Curry? Yeah, let's do that. So now we got a Curry class. There it is. That would actually be the preferred one. But if we go into our functions here and we go to our leaders, we will find our leaders. This is the art design for the game. I want to specifically take a look here at Emily. Emily is the leader of my capital fleet. And Emily has a rather cool thing attached to her, and that is a flagship. Yes, you have a flagship, and that's listed here. So right now I got a rank 1 flagship. How do I change the flagship, ASpec? Well, you can upgrade it through parts. How do you get parts? Well, you craft them with these... A fleet has returned. You craft them by using these components that you can get. So we get basic hard metal, basic ceramics, basic organic matter, basic synthetic materials. Those all drop through anomalies or attacking elite versions of the pirates. And once you have all that stuff, you can combine them into components, which you can then use to create another component, and then you can upgrade your ship. And right now we don't have the Sapient AI level 2, which is the thing that we need to upgrade it to the next level. We'll delve into those items a little bit more shortly. Then there is the alliance part of the game. So let's go into our capital system here in Xenur. We are part of the Xenonian News, which means that we are all about the news within the galaxy. And as you can see, there's a lot of people over here. You can claim planets by going claiming these. So if we claim, let's take a look at our station, for instance. We can see all this stuff. This is what the station looks like, its skills, its damage, etc. But also, for instance, these gun platforms that are all over the place as well. And those are all defending stuff within space. Oh, we got some action over here. That looks like one of the Alliance members is attacking stuff. That's nice. Getting a little bit of the grind in, so to speak. Looks like a very new player as well. And there is our mercenary fleet that needs to recall. But yeah, it's rather interesting. Aside from the stuff that I've touched upon, building the stations, doing the anomalies, fight pirates, that is pretty much the extent of the gameplay in the game. Again, the space station itself doesn't really do all that much, aside from having a place of where your stuff is. It doesn't really change all this much. This is pretty much the shape you're going to get. And again, there is no adjacency bonuses and no specialization, which is a real shame. Of course, we can do our research here. We can build new buildings. We can do new ships, which I probably can't afford. I can't afford. Oh, that's nice. So let's just change out this here curry into an actual curry. There we go, because I don't like Strikecraft at all. So I'm just going to build some ships over here. This is their cost from materials that I've generated. Note that there is no indication of how much of these resources I actually have at the moment. And that is a problem. There is no real tooltips, mainly because this game is designed for your fingers. In addition, we need to go back and forth between these menus pretty much all the time by hand to build all this stuff. So I got 1, 2, and 3 ships queued up. I need to go back into the menu, go into the shipyard, and do it all over again, just so I can build these destroyers. Very, very minor stuff there. Then, of course, we got our fleets. There they are. We got our trade. Right now, we're trading a bunch of minerals. That's why I don't have any money at the moment, because the game actually has a relatively deep economy system. So if we actually go down here and we create an order, we can actually order all of our materials by price. So let's say we have minerals and all that stuff. This is the price of the mineral from neutral traders. If there's any other players out there that sell resources below that amount, I will usually come in and scoop up those materials and then put them on the market at a higher price. This is called capitalism, for those of you that are watching. And that kind of applies to all these resources. They all have their own value, etc. So the game is kind of starting to develop its own internalized economy that is pushed by the players. However, when it comes to the economy, and we're going to go and touch once again a little bit more here on these components, as we've already talked about before. Let's take a look here at Sean and look at the stuff that he can do. These components that we have cannot be traded. There is no trading of these on the market. This does not make for fun. Let players sell these darn components so we can actually do stuff in the game, please. It's not possible. It's not available on the market. It's all being seeded through anomalies. And that's a real pain in the ass. I really wish we could just trade components amongst each other so we could actually level quicker. That in combination with the lack of specialization of our station. Because once again, it doesn't really do anything. Oh, we got another space station event. Let's take a look here. Space station. We get a bunch of leader XP because, yes, you need to spend XP on your leaders. Yes, you can buy the XP using the G coins because, of course, you can. And that's pretty much that in terms of the gameplay. There is raiding as well. You can send your fleets out to raid enemy stations, take their resources, etc. That's all available. That's why everybody's huddled around each other, and there's all these defensive platforms everywhere because they will attack whoever tries to get into the system and try to raid your stations. So now we get to the bit that everybody's been looking forward to, and that is the microtransactions. So, microtransactions. First of all, there is the store. The store is basically all these G coins that you can buy. Relatively straightforward. You get a first-time discount, which is a classic mobile title pitfall that they would like you to fall into because you're like, oh, it's a first-time discount. I'd be a fool not to buy all of this stuff and spend 119 euros on 16,000 coins. 16,000 coins is not a lot, by the way. I would like to point that out. I do feel that the prices are heavily inflated. Then there's the discount shop, which is where you can spend your G coins on a discount value on these resources. Yes, I did spend some of these here G coins because I got them for free with the game. The game generates these coins over time for you to spend. You don't actually need to buy them. But again, because it makes you wait for so long and you can speed up that process, you may want to, pull that trigger. And then I just bought some minerals because I felt I needed minerals at the time. All this other stuff I'm producing more of. Then there is the Battle Pass. Alright, so the Battle Pass for me right now is active. However, the Battle Pass comes in 2 ratings. It's the standard version and the elite version. And once again, I got this Battle Pass from Paradox Interactive. I did not spend any money on it myself. That is the disclaimer on this one. It's pretty pricey. It comes in at 30 something bucks for the elite Battle Pass, and it unlocks the Battle Pass rewards, as you can see, plus 100. It upgrades your elite Battle Pass by 20 levels. You get an exclusive title that only gives you like a couple of % bonuses if you actually apply it, because yes, there are titles that you can apply to your name and it will give you Empire-wide modifiers, and it permanently unlocks your mercenary fleet. It means that you can get better design, better stuff for your fleet. Okay, so what does this Battle Pass look like? What do you get with the Battle Pass aside from that stuff? Well, this is the Battle Pass screen. As you can see, as you grind up through the thing, right now I'm at level 32, and every single day there are missions you can do, and you will get upgrade points. And then you can upgrade your Battle Pass all the way up here to level 100. And you get all this stuff, including like new laser weapon fragments. Stuff that I don't know if you can get within the game or not without getting the Battle Pass. I actually have no idea what they do, if they're actually better weapons or anything like that. It's not particularly clear. In previous versions, you would get special designs for ships and stuff like that. But I don't know whether or not that is still the case. I don't think it actually is. Then there is the free Battle Pass down here, up here even, which is something that is always active. You will get these upgrades regardless of if you bought the Battle Pass or not. But there are so many more items down here that the incentive of buying the actual Battle Pass is rather interesting. It's not really worth your time though, because all of this stuff drops within the game slowly over time. Again, it speeds up your experience. And this is, again, it's a mobile title, so you can play it whenever. But again, there's timers attached to everything. You want to speed things up to get to other things quicker before somebody else does, and then wreck your stuff, right? So that's the thing. And it looks like Season 1. It should technically be Season 0 because it is a soft launch, and it ends in 70 days. Achievements. You get progress points on your battle pass if you do all of these things, like fight another player, log in for 30 days straight, collect debris of spaceships, which is what we just showed, eliminate 15 million worth of pirate strength, build and upgrade your development up to 30k. Development is how the game calculates your score, by the way. So it's like the technology, the amount of buildings, and the power of your fleets, etc. So all that stuff is there, but is it really worth your time? Because it doesn't really speed things up in a numerical value. It doesn't add any modifiers to your empire. It's more a case of, hey Paradox, I appreciate what you're doing. Have some money so I can get some additional stuff that I would grind through the game anyway. There's no events attached to this. There is no... If I will take a battle pass, and this is a very cliche thing to do, the Fortnite battle pass, right? You get skins. You get skins with this? No, you don't get skins with this. Do you get new events with this? No, you don't get new events with this. Do you get other stuff with this aside from these modules? No, this is literally it. This reminds me of the Apex Legends Season 1 Battle Pass, where it's like, grind to a new level, you get a new gun. And that's basically it. It's rather disappointing in that regard. I really wish there was more to this Battle Pass, and right now I don't feel it's actually worth your time. You can also not grind for G-Coins within the game to buy the Battle Pass. So you can't just go in and say, hey Battle Pass, I want to buy you. Can I use my G-Coins? No, that's not possible. You can't grind up. You need to spend physical money, or at least money from your credit card of choice and or PayPal, to buy the Battle Pass. Yeah. It's an interesting experience, and right now, a lot of the content is coming from players going to war. Right now, it looks like there is actually a war going on. A galaxy, war is brewing. Canada has declared war on the Cosmic Prophecy. Where is this? I have no idea, but I'm sure we're about to see, because a lot of the territory has already been divvied up. There's currently war going on over here, apparently, so that is rather curious. Let's take a quick zoom out. By the way, there's no smooth zooming between things, because in the end it's still on mobile. Where is this? Oh, it's all the way up here, so it's pretty far away. Okay, well, that doesn't cause any problems for me. But yeah, it does mean that if we take a look here at our ranking, for instance, certain alliances are a lot stronger than some of the other alliances. I'm in Xenonian News. We're at 7 million development. Number 1 is already at 12. They got a significant... And we're at the same levelship of members. And really, the quality of your members is important in this game. Just to make sure that you get ahead of everything. It's rather interesting. Strength. Are you the strongest dude on the server? Have you lost the most on the server? How much strength of space pirates have you killed so far? How many systems does your alliance have? Etc, etc, etc. There's so much stuff here. It's the real question is, does it really have any intrinsic gameplay value? Right now, I would say no. I'm still playing it because the only reason why I'm still playing it is because I'm really curious where this is going to go. I haven't seen a roadmap. What is coming up? What is coming after this? Are we going to see more anomalies? Are we going to see alliance projects? I want to build that Dyson sphere and gateway network within my empire just to increase the value of my space, and maybe somebody else will want to come in and take said space, so to speak, or destroy my stuff. Stuff like that doesn't seem to be in the game right now, and I don't know whether or not it's going to be there in the long run. And that's something that I really want this game to be good. And I'm playing it literally to see where it is going. And I can totally understand Paradox's idea behind getting this game. Scopely Games, that the aforementioned Star Trek games that are very similar to this, made $100 million last year from a game like this alone, and that's purely based on the Star Trek franchise. And I am okay with Stellaris branching out into new things and trying something new. This is fine, but can these developers actually do this? Because you've got the scandal with the art assets. Is that trust still there? Can we still expect good gameplay development from this developer? And that's something that I'm hoping. But hoping for something and knowing that something is going to happen is something very different. Yeah, target practice, I guess. Let's send our science ship out there and find whatever is on this planet in this single drop anomaly here. Let's scan this. Science ship, go. That's your gameplay. And I understand it's on a mobile phone, but you got games like Prison Architect on mobile. You got games like Wizards of the Square Tablet. It's a Magica game. Not a lot of people bought it. It's still fun. Go and grab it if you can. I understand that this is a free to play game. There's a certain amount of investment, and it's very much designed as a Skinner box to make you spend money. And you don't need to spend money on this game, not at all. It's very much community driven. That is effectively it. This is a game designed around the community. If you are going to play this, I do recommend for you to try it out just for the sake of. Get into an alliance. Don't play by yourself. It is a really, really bad idea. There is almost no gameplay for a single player scenario here. It is droll, it is shallow, and without the ability of playing with other people, you are not going to have fun. It's very similar to EVE Online in that effect. I'm going to go wrap this up here. This has been Stellaris Galaxy Command. I want to thank my patrons as always for making this channel possible. And if you want to get involved in the Patreon as well, feel free to take a look at it on the Patreon page. The link is in the description, of course. There's more videos on the channel as well. They may not exactly touch upon Stellaris Galaxy Command. Will I make more content for Stellaris Galaxy Command in the future? If it develops to a point where I'm just like, hey, this is actually getting better, and it opens up to the entire world aside from the 4 regions, Sweden, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, then sure, I will touch upon it again. I won't stop playing it because I want to see where it goes. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. And as always, enjoy some video games.